Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. You know, it's kind of wild when you look at human psychology, but did you know the vast majority of people completely abandon their New Year's resolutions by like the second week of February? It happens all the time. We start out with these massive bursts of energy, but then, inevitably, we just stall out. So today, we're going to deconstruct exactly why that happens. We are diving deep into the fundamental architecture of daily discipline, and we're going to dismantle this huge behavioral trap that honestly catches almost all of us, the trap of relying on motivation. What we're about to unpack here is literally the bedrock of achieving anything significant. It's not a quick fix, but it's the absolute truth. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, let's look at this. Discipline is stronger than motivation. This is our entire core hook for today. Look, motivation is great. It's this wonderful, exciting feeling. It's what gets you to buy the fancy running shoes, draft up that big business plan, or finally hit sign up on that course. But here's the catch. Motivation is totally dependent on how you feel. It's just an emotion, and emotions are, well, fleeting. They come and go with the weather, how much sleep you got last night, or just some random Tuesday afternoon slump. Discipline, on the other hand, it operates completely independent of your feelings. So the really crucial point here is that when the motivation inevitably fades, and trust me, it always does, discipline is literally the only structure strong enough to hold up your ambitions.
Because there's this universal trap we practically all fall into, waiting to feel ready before we act. Seriously, how many times have you told yourself, oh, I'll start when things calm down at work, or I'll do it when I feel a bit more inspired, or the classic, I'll just begin on Monday. We are constantly chasing this mythical state of perfect readiness. But contrasted against that illusion is the cold, hard reality, the continuous, unforgiving passage of time. Time does not pause while you wait around for the perfect mood to strike. That perfect feeling of readiness, it just doesn't exist. Because the harsh reality of time passing is simply this: waiting equals losing. I really want you to absorb that for a second. Every single day you spend waiting for that elusive spark of motivation is a day permanently lost. It's a missed opportunity. When we hesitate, we aren't just hitting pause on our progress, we are actively falling behind everyone else who is choosing to act despite their hesitation. Hesitation has a real, immediate consequence. Okay, so if waiting is losing, what's the alternative? Well, it's true discipline, doing what must be done even when you don't feel like it. The real disconnect in our behavior happens right at the very end of that sentence, even when you don't feel like it. We've kind of been conditioned to believe that our feelings should dictate our actions, right? If we feel tired, we should rest. If we feel uninspired, we shouldn't try to create. But true discipline is the radical act of totally divorcing your necessary actions from those temporary emotions. You can acknowledge the feeling, hey, I'm tired, but you absolutely do not let it drive the car. The whole solution really just boils down to two brilliantly simple yet immensely difficult words: show up. Honestly, that is the entire secret. Before you even start worrying about optimizing your workflow or hitting personal bests or trying to achieve absolute perfection, you just have to initiate the work. You got to cross that threshold. Open the laptop, tie up the gym shoes, pick up the phone, and make the call. Just being present and initiating the action, that accounts for the vast majority of the battle. And yeah, you have to do it even when it's hard. Getting the work done when you're exhausted, stressed out, or doubting yourself is incredibly tough. Let's be real, your brain is literally hardwired to prefer the couch over pushing yourself. But here's the thing. Difficulty isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It is supposed to be hard. Acknowledging that it's difficult is totally fine, but using that difficulty as a valid excuse to just stop, that is exactly where the entire architecture crumbles. And this brilliant simplicity applies across the board. Just look at where real success is built: business, fitness, life. In business, it's making those cold calls or finishing up a report when your brain is completely fried. In fitness, it's getting your workout in when your bed feels impossibly warm on a freezing winter morning. And in life, it's having that super difficult conversation or sticking to a budget when you'd really rather not. Across every major facet of life, this single rule of showing up, regardless of your current emotional state, is exactly what separates the people who actually succeed from the people who only ever plan to succeed. Now, when you start showing up like this, it triggers what I call the action accumulator. It's a basic two-step process. Step 1, small actions. Step 2, repeated daily. Society is totally obsessed with grand gestures and overnight successes, but let me tell you, that is a total myth. Grand success is actually incredibly mundane. It's really just a collection of very small, seemingly insignificant actions repeated over and over and over again. It is the highly unglamorous accumulation of daily effort.
Let's walk through this timeline together so you can see exactly how this compounding effect works. On day 1, a single small action feels like literally nothing. You run 1 mile, you read a single chapter, you save $10. It feels like you haven't moved the needle at all, right? But fast forward to day 100, where you've repeated those actions daily. Suddenly, the momentum is undeniable. You've built a real habit. And then look at year 1, massive results. Compounding time magically transforms minor, almost invisible daily efforts into this towering, undeniable mountain of achievement.
So, your big takeaway here is that consistency builds results. Not intensity, not those sudden bursts of 3 a.m. inspiration where you try to change your entire life in one night. Consistency. It's the true, unglamorous engine of progress. It's the steady, rhythmic heartbeat of discipline. If you can just master being consistent with average effort, you will vastly outperform the person who only occasionally applies extraordinary effort. For sure.
Listen, every single day, you are forced to weigh 2 options on a scale. On one side, we have not feeling like it. And we've already established that this is just a temporary feeling. It's going to pass. On the other side, we have massive results, which represent permanent achievement. When you skip a day just because you don't feel like it, you are literally trading a permanent achievement for temporary comfort. You're letting a fleeting emotion rob you of your long-term success. But when you act anyway, you sacrifice that little bit of temporary comfort, but you secure the permanent victory.
So I want to pose a direct challenge to you right now. Mastering discipline is an active, deliberate process. It's a muscle that you actively have to train. You don't just magically wake up disciplined one day. You have to choose to be disciplined, decision by decision, hour by hour. It requires taking the steering wheel and having active control over your daily actions, rather than just letting your impulses boss you around.
Because when you master those seemingly tiny daily actions, you absolutely master your future. The two are inextricably linked. You can't separate who you are today from who you're going to be in 5 years. Your destiny isn't decided by some random stroke of luck. It's decided by what you choose to do between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
It all boils down to this very simple equation. Your future equals your discipline. If your daily discipline is 0, well, your future growth is going to be 0. But if your daily discipline is consistent and unyielding, then your future is entirely in your own hands. The quality of your discipline today directly writes the reality of your life tomorrow.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. Will you master your discipline, or are you going to let your temporary feelings continue to dictate your permanent reality? The whole architecture is right there in front of you. The choice to step inside and actually do the work, even when it's really, really hard, is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Start taking that consistent action today, and I'll catch you next time.